Yo, it's your boy Schlotze here and welcome to another build video featuring the Shadowraptor build. So this build is a two-handed build, but it is a pretty tanky because the current meta is very bursty, so I thought I'm gonna make a two-handed build, but it's a little more tanky. So the build revolves around a special RE. Like, this build does not work if you don't have the RE. Good thing the RE got recently nerfed, but it's still strong in this build, so it's pretty cheap to get. It's the legendary Mongoose Bite RE, and I have it here on my Sinrock. That's the pretty best combination you can get, just Sinrock with the legendary RE on it. And yeah, the build is formed around this RE using Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike, to Mongoose Bite just applying the strong ticking bleed and Raptor Strike just critting for real high damage. So the best secondary RE is this one, of course, increases critical strike chance by Raptor Strike Mongoose Bite 8%. This one is a white tier RE, so uncommon, and no wait, a common RE. And so it's super cheap to put on your gear. You just can extract it and put 5 on your gear. It will cost you 5 orbs for 5 REs. It's super cheap and super strong. So then let's take a closer look at the build. So for spells we have here, of course, Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite. The build won't work without those two abilities. In Arcane Mage we have Blink, as always. In Protection Paladin we have Devotion Aura, Hand of Freedom, Seal of Justice and Divine Shield. In Retribution we have Judgment of Justice to slow enemy sprints. Then in Discipline Priest we have Power Word Shield. Yeah, Power Word Shield is just because we are using Shadow Form right now, so we are using Absorbs instead of Heals. Most of the time at least. Then in Assassination Rogue we have Poisons, because we're gonna use Wound Poison, because we do not use Mortal Strike in this build. In Affliction Warlock we have Life Tap, Drain Soul and Death Coil. Of course, Drain Soul we need to be able to summon our Void Walker. In Demonology we have Demon Skin, Summon Void Walker. In Arms Warrior we have Charge. In Fury Warrior we have Battle Shout, Intercept and Berserk Rage. We take Battle Shout because we want the Greater Blessing of Sanctuary, and we also want the attack power, so we're using Blessing of Sanctuary and Battle Shout. In Protection Warrior we have only talents, so it seems. Okay, let's go to the talents then. In Restoration Druid we have 3 points in Natural Perfection, just giving us some huge damage reduction. In Survival Hunter we have Savage Strikes, increasing crit chance of Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite, and Hunter vs Wild, turning our stamina into attack power, because we're going full stamina with this build. In Arcane Mage we have Improved Blink, and you maybe mentioned we do not have a kick on this build right now, so I didn't take Counter Spell this time. I'm not sure what to drop for a kick. This build is pretty AE starved, so I was thinking about getting a kick, but then I didn't pick it. I don't know. Maybe you could drop something to get a kick. Maybe even improve Counter Spell. I don't know. You try it. Then we have Fire Mage, Fire Payback, just giving us additional damage reduction when we're below 35%, and it also automatically disarms enemies. In Holy Paladin we have Enlightened Judgments, just 4% hit. In Protection Paladin we have, of course, Blessing of Sanctuary, as I mentioned earlier. In Retribution Paladin we have Pursuit of Justice and Sanctified Retribution. It's just 3% damage for 1 AE and 1 TE. And then we have Judgment of the Wise. Even though we're not using heals, or almost using no heals, both Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike cost mana, and your Power Word Shield also costs mana, so Judgments of the Wise is pretty amazing, because it gives you all the mana back you need. Like, you barely have to life tap. Sometimes you have to life tap, but most of the time you don't have to life tap. Judgment of the Wise is mostly enough. In Discipline Priest we have Pain Suppression and Penance. We take Penance because, you will see, like, in between fights or when I throw a CC at my enemy, I can just start Penance. It will take me out of Shadow form, heals me, and then I go back into Shadow form. It's just a quick, strong heal you can use when you CC your enemy or when you line of sight them for a second. Then of course we have Shadow form and improved Shadow form. That's the reason why we take Shadow form in the first place. It's just 10% damage reduction. You take 10% less damage. Of course, you could also argue to use defensive stance, but defensive stance also decreases our damage by 10% and our healing by 10%. Of course, there's this talent in protection that you get Enrage whenever you block, parry, dodge, and attack. But you're not really blocking, dodging, or parrying with this build, so you will barely get this Enrage, and you're really going to miss the 10% damage reduction. So I personally took. I mean, it surely works with defensive stance too. You just want the 10% damage reduction, but I just decided to try it out with Shadow form and just using barriers. In Combat Rogue we have Savage Combat, of course, increasing attack power and increasing our damage against poison targets because we are using poisons. Then we have Hemorrhage and Shadow Step. Hemorrhage is just a filler, Shadow Step just to get closer. Then in Demonology Warcraft we have Demonic Embrace, gives you more stamina and also increases the damage reduction of your Soul Link. Fell Vitality just gives you more health and makes your Voidwalker tankier, so you can share more damage with him through Soul Link. In Destruction Warlock we have Nether Protection. In Arms Warrior we have Trauma, because the bleed that the legendary RE gives from Mongoose Bite is still very high, and I think this is worth it, 30% more damage on the bleed. Then we have Second Wind, just be taking passive heals because we cannot actively heal in Shadow form, so we have Second Wind. Then we also have Armor to the Teeth and Blood Craze. Yeah, Armor to the Teeth just gives you extra attack power through your armor, and Blood Craze is just another passive heal. Then we also have Rampage, just 5% melee crit. We have Concussion Blow. I was considering using Bloodthirst or any other rage attack, because Concussion Blow has a high cooldown and the damage is not very high. But after testing it for a while, I really like the Concussion Blow. Like the 5-second stun is just really amazing. And of course Warbringer, so we can charge and intercept without having a stance. Oh, and I forgot to mention something. Like, I totally forgot about it, but I have the Deadly Brew RE. So if you don't have the Deadly Brew RE, your wound poison will not slow. That's why you would usually take the points out of Fiery Payback and put it into Deadly Brew, so your wound poison slows. If you have the RE, of course you put it in Fiery Payback or somewhere else. But if you don't have the Deadly Brew RE, you definitely need the talent, or else you will not have a slow. So then, let's look at some example damage. We got buffed up, our Voidwalker is buffed up, let's go. So we always want to prioritize your Mongoose Bite simply because it will apply the bleed and increase the damage of your Raptor Strike. And as you see, the Raptor Strike is doing 900 crits, pretty easy on this dummy. And the bleed is ticking for quite a bit of damage too. Oh, 1.3k almost with Raptor Strike. Let's try some more, let's try some more. 700 non-crit Raptor Strike. But yeah, as you see, that it's just mostly the bleed dealing damage, and of course the big Raptor Strike hits. The other attacks are basically just fillers. And if you have, like, I only have one of these crit REs, but if you have more REs, your Raptor Strike will almost always crit. For me it's just 40% crit, so that's why I'm not always critting with Raptor Strike. Come on, one more crit, come on. Yeah, 1.3 okay. Okay, Crusader just proc, let's hit some more. just to see. Maybe we can... Oh, another 1.3. As you see, if you have enough of the Raptor Strike crit REs, you will just always get these 1.3k Raptor Strike crits. It's pretty good. Let's look at the damage. We have Raptor Strike here, of course, with the most damage he dealt. As you see, dealing up to 800 non-criticals maximum and 1.3k criticals with Raptor Strike. And Deadly Bite, the bleed from the legendary RE, is on second space, dealing also some substantial damage, ticking for around 200 damage. And of course our filler attacks and Hemorrhage, auto attacks and Goose Bite. I also have Flame Leash here, because of the Trinket Heart of the Whimthalak. It's, as you see, 6% damage. It's a pretty good trinket. But yeah, that's the damage. Just Raptor Strike and the Deadly Bite bleed, just super good together. Oh yeah, and before I forget, we also have to talk a little bit about the defensive side of this build. So when we go into combat, like we're just using our powered shield, because it's a big bubble and you have much damage reduction. And we also use Sacrifice, gives you another shield of the Voidwalker for a bunch of health. So you have like almost 3k, I think a little over 3k absorb right now. And you just start pummeling your enemy and they will try to destroy your bubbles through all your damage reduction, but the damage reduction gets applied first. So if they would crit you for 1k, it will first be reduced by your damage reduction, and then it will hit your bubble. I mean your Power Word Shield. So that's what we're doing. We're just using Power Word Shield all the time, just giving us the bubble and using Sacrifice of our Voidwalker, just to get some really big damage reduction. And in between combat, like if you give them a good concussion blow and you know they don't have blink to get out of it, or if you death call them, you can just stand there, cast a penance on yourself, heal you for 1.5 and then go back into shadow form. It's pretty quick, and even if your penance gets kicked, you will still have 1 or 2 ticks through it, so it doesn't matter. Penance is just a really good heal for this. And then whenever you stun them again or CC them again, bam, another penance, and go shadow form again. And you just keep using your judgment and sometimes using a life tap to keep your mana up and just keep on fighting. Then boom, stun them again, quick penance, shadow form again, and just hit them again. Just keep dealing damage. So yeah, high survivability, extremely high survivability, and super, well, super is maybe a bit much, but very decent damage. So that's the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. After this you will, as always, see some gameplay with music, so you can see the build in action. And yeah, that's about it. Schlotz out. See you later.
Sleepless nights at the chateau, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Coach, wherever we go, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Get a wildfire burning, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Ace high and going all in, visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Money, 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 money. Spread it like it like sleepless nights at the chateau. Visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Kuch, kuch, wherever we go. Visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Get a wildfire burning. Visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Ace high and going all in. Visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Money, 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 spread it like spread it like visualize it.
I'll give it something to do.
Spread it like
Visualize it. I'll give it something to do.
visualize it.
I'll give it something to do. didn't expect to want all the things that I could live without. I wouldn't do it for anyone, you should know that. But since I loved you since 21, you should know that. When the wild comes crawling on you, help is on the way, and the high